You walk into a room and immediately forget why. You're in the middle of a sentence and the next word vanishes. You read the same paragraph 3 times and nothing sticks. Your thoughts feel thick, slow, tangled, like trying to think through wet cement. If this sounds familiar, you've experienced brain fog. And here's what you need to know right now. You're not losing your mind. You're not getting dementia. You're not broken. Brain fog is a real biological response to chronic stress, poor sleep, inflammation, or hormonal changes. It's not a disease itself. It's a symptom, a signal that something in your body needs attention. Welcome to Health Sketchpad. I'm Dr. AB. Today, we're demystifying brain fog. We'll explore what's actually happening inside your brain when stress steals your focus. We'll look at the science behind forgetfulness, mental fatigue, and that cloudy feeling. And most importantly, we'll give you practical, evidence-based tools to clear the fog and reclaim your mental clarity. Before we dive into the causes, let's be clear about what brain fog actually feels like. Brain fog isn't a medical diagnosis, it's a term people use to describe a collection of cognitive symptoms. The most common include forgetfulness. You lose your keys, miss appointments, or can't remember what you just read. Poor concentration. You start a task, get distracted, and struggle to refocus. Your mind drifts constantly. Mental fatigue. Even simple tasks feel exhausting. Answering an email or following a conversation takes real effort. Word-finding difficulty. You know the word, it's right on the tip of your tongue, but it won't come out. And the feeling of being spaced out or disconnected, like you're watching your life through a foggy window instead of fully participating. If you're experiencing several of these symptoms, especially after periods of high stress or poor sleep, you're likely dealing with brain fog. And understanding what's happening in your brain is the first step toward fixing it. So what's actually happening inside your brain during brain fog? Let's start with the main culprit, cortisol. Remember the HPA axis from our stress videos? When you're under chronic stress, your brain activates this system, and your adrenal glands release cortisol, the primary stress hormone. A little cortisol is helpful. It sharpens your focus, mobilizes energy, and helps you respond to challenges. But chronic stress means chronically elevated cortisol. And chronically elevated cortisol is terrible for your brain. Here's why. Your prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of your brain, is packed with cortisol receptors. When cortisol levels stay high for too long, it literally impairs the function of your prefrontal cortex. Your PFC is responsible for working memory, attention, decision-making, and impulse control, exactly the functions that go offline during brain fog. High cortisol makes your PFC work slower, less efficiently, and with more errors. Think of it like trying to run a computer in extreme heat. The system still works, but it throttles performance to avoid damage. Your brain does the same thing. Chronic stress forces your brain into a low-power mode where cognitive tasks become harder, slower, and more exhausting. This is why you forget why you walked into a room. This is why reading feels impossible. Your PFC is struggling under a cortisol overload. Cortisol isn't the only culprit. Inflammation plays a major role in brain fog, and this explains why brain fog is so common in people with autoimmune conditions, chronic infections, or even after a bad night of sleep. When your body detects a threat, like an infection, injury, or chronic stress, your immune system releases inflammatory molecules called cytokines. These cytokines are like alarm signals, telling your body to mount a defense. But here's the catch. Those cytokines don't just stay in your body. They travel to your brain through the bloodstream and through nerve pathways like the vagus nerve. When cytokines reach your brain, they trigger a response called sickness behavior. You've experienced this. When you have the flu, you don't just have a fever, you feel tired, withdrawn, foggy, and uninterested in food or socializing. That's not the virus itself, that's your brain responding to inflammation. The same thing happens with chronic, low-grade inflammation from stress, poor diet, lack of sleep, or autoimmune conditions. Your brain is constantly receiving low-level alarm signals, and your brain responds by going into a protective, low-energy mode. The result? Brain fog, slower thinking, poor memory, difficulty concentrating. Your brain is essentially saying, something is wrong. Let's conserve energy and wait this out. We've talked about the glymphatic system before, your brain's built-in cleaning crew. This system activates almost exclusively during deep sleep. Here's how it works. While you sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flows through your brain's tissues, flushing out metabolic waste products that built up during the day. These waste products include things like beta amyloid and tau proteins, the same proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease when they accumulate over years. Now, here's the connection to brain fog. When you don't get enough sleep, the glymphatic system doesn't have enough time to finish its cleaning cycle. Waste products remain in your brain. Your neurons are swimming in their own metabolic debris. The effect is immediate. One night of poor sleep can significantly impair attention, working memory, and processing speed. Chronic sleep deprivation leads to cumulative cognitive dysfunction. This is why brain fog is so common in new parents, shift workers, and anyone with insomnia. It's not in your head, it's in your brain's plumbing. When the cleaning crew can't finish their shift, the cognitive trash piles up and fog descends. There's one more contributor to brain fog that's uniquely modern: digital overload. Every time you check your phone, respond to a notification, or switch between tasks, your brain pays a small tax. This is called the switching cost. It takes time and energy to disengage from one task and reorient to another. When you switch tasks every few minutes, as most of us do in the digital age, those switching costs add up. Your brain is constantly shifting gears, never settling into deep focus. The result is mental fatigue, even if you haven't technically worked that hard. Research shows that heavy multitasking is associated with poorer memory, slower processing speed, and increased susceptibility to distraction. Your brain wasn't designed to process constant streams of notifications, alerts, and interruptions. Think of it like a highway. When traffic flows smoothly, everyone gets where they're going efficiently. But when cars are constantly merging, braking, and changing lanes, traffic slows to a crawl. Your brain is the same. Constant task switching creates cognitive traffic jams, and traffic jams feel like brain fog. Now for the good news. Brain fog is not permanent. You can clear it, and the solutions are simpler than you might think. Let's start with the foundation: sleep and stress management. First, prioritize sleep. This isn't optional. If you want to clear brain fog, you need to give your glymphatic system time to clean. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Keep a consistent schedule, even on weekends. Create a dark, cool, quiet environment. And build a wind-down routine that starts at least 30 minutes before bed, free from screens. Second, manage your cortisol. Chronic stress means chronic cortisol, which means chronic PFC impairment. You don't need to eliminate stress, you need to recover from it. Slow, deep breathing, especially with prolonged exhalations, directly activates your vagus nerve and lowers cortisol. Even 5 minutes of mindfulness meditation can reduce stress hormone levels. Third, reduce overwhelm. Brain fog often worsens when you're trying to do too many things at once. Single tasking is better than multitasking. Prioritize your most important tasks and let the rest wait. Give your brain space to breathe. These foundational habits alone can dramatically reduce brain fog for most people. But we have more tools.
What you eat
And drink directly affects your cognitive function. Poor nutrition is a major contributor to brain fog. First, hydration. Your brain is about 75% water. Even mild dehydration, losing just 1 to 2% of your body's water, impairs attention, memory, and cognitive speed. If you feel foggy, drink a glass of water. It's simple, but it works. Second, omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats are critical for brain cell structure and function. Low omega-3 levels are associated with brain fog, poor memory, and depression. Good sources include fatty fish like salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, or a quality supplement. Third, B vitamins. Vitamins B6, B9, folate, and B12 play essential roles in brain energy metabolism and neurotransmitter production. Deficiencies, especially B12 deficiency, can cause significant cognitive symptoms, including brain fog, memory problems, and fatigue. Fourth, blood sugar stability. High sugar meals cause rapid spikes and crashes in blood glucose. The crash phase often comes with brain fog, fatigue, and irritability. Eating balanced meals with protein, healthy fats, and fiber helps stabilize your blood sugar and maintain steady energy levels. Finally, be mindful of caffeine and alcohol. While caffeine can temporarily sharpen focus, overuse leads to tolerance and withdrawal, including brain fog when you skip your usual cup. Alcohol disrupts sleep and directly impairs cognitive function, often leaving you foggy the next day. Physical activity is one of the most powerful brain fog fighters available, and you don't need to run a marathon. Exercise increases blood flow to your brain. More blood flow means more oxygen and more glucose, fuel for your neurons. This immediate effect can sharpen focus and clear fog within minutes of movement. But the long-term effects are even more impressive. Exercise increases levels of a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. BDNF is like fertilizer for your brain. It supports the growth of new neurons, strengthens connections between existing neurons, and protects your brain from degeneration. Low BDNF levels are associated with cognitive decline, depression, and brain fog. Regular exercise, especially aerobic exercise like walking, jogging, swimming, or cycling, boosts BDNF production. Here's the practical takeaway. You don't need to spend hours in the gym. Even a 10-minute walk can increase blood flow and improve cognitive function. If you're feeling foggy, stand up, stretch, walk around the block, or do a few jumping jacks. Movement is medicine for your brain.
Before we wrap up,
I need to add an important caveat. While brain fog is almost always reversible, especially when caused by stress, sleep deprivation, or lifestyle factors, it can sometimes be a sign of something more serious. You should see a doctor if your brain fog is accompanied by any of these red flags. Sudden, severe memory loss that comes on rapidly. Not the gradual fogginess we've been discussing, but a sharp, noticeable change. progressive worsening over weeks or months, despite improving your sleep, nutrition, and stress management. Difficulty completing familiar tasks, like getting lost on a route you know well or struggling to follow a recipe. Other neurological symptoms like weakness, numbness, vision changes, or trouble speaking. Brain fog can also be caused by thyroid disorders, vitamin deficiencies, especially B12, autoimmune conditions, chronic infections, medication side effects, or sleep disorders like sleep apnea. The good news is that most of these causes are treatable, but you need to rule them out. Don't assume your brain fog is just stress if it's severe, persistent, or getting worse. Talk to your doctor. Get your blood work checked. Ask about your thyroid, B12, vitamin D, and inflammatory markers. Brain fog is usually reversible, but the first step is knowing what's causing it.
Let's bring this all together.
Brain fog is real. It's frustrating. It can make you feel like you're losing your mind. But you are not broken. You are not getting dementia. Your brain is responding to real biological stresses. Cortisol, inflammation, sleep debt, digital overload. The good news is that brain fog is almost always reversible. Your brain has a remarkable ability to heal and recover when you give it what it needs. Prioritize sleep. Your glymphatic system needs time to clean. Manage your cortisol. Deep breathing, mindfulness, and reducing overwhelm give your prefrontal cortex a break. Support your brain with nutrition and hydration. Omega-3s, B vitamins, stable blood sugar, and water are your allies. Move your body. Even a short walk increases blood flow and BDNF. And know when to see a doctor. Rule out other causes, then trust that you can clear the fog. Start small. Pick one thing from this video and try it today. Take 5 deep breaths with a long exhale. Drink a glass of water. Walk around the block for 10 minutes. Go to bed 30 minutes earlier tonight. Small changes add up. Your brain will thank you. You've got this.